Hello and welcome to our first ever live Operacast quiz. I'm the host of the Operacast podcast and your quiz master for this evening, David Ward. First of all, I want to say that I hope you're all safe and well and that you've been finding things to keep yourself operatically engaged over this quite extraordinary time that we're all living in. We've got lots of old podcasts for you to go and listen to. If you're looking for something to do and listen to over the coming weeks, you can go to our website, operacast.co.uk, and you can find all the past episodes there, or you could search Operacast wherever you get your podcasts. I'm sure you've also seen that a lot of companies, including the Royal Opera House here in the UK and the Metropolitan Opera in New York, for example, have been putting past performances for free online. So lots of things to watch whilst we wait for the opera houses to reopen again. Now we are streaming live this evening, so if you've got any questions, any comments, if you want any of the questions repeating again, then please do say. We've got our producer Louise, who's just off camera, who's going to be looking at those this evening, so please do let us know in there. All you need for tonight's quiz is a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper. There is a maths and numbers round, so you can use a calculator. However, I promise that the maths involved is very straightforward. There are no prizes on offer, I'm afraid to say, but if at the end of the quiz you would like to put your score down in the comments, then we can crown a winner of tonight's quiz. Or if you want to keep it to yourself, that's up to you. But we do encourage you to share it at the end and we can find ourselves a winner. Before we start, I am going to say one thing. I know a lot of the questions this evening are quite tricky. I won't lie, not all of this knowledge has come from my head. A bit of research has been involved. So if there are a few questions that you've got no idea, just have a guess. Hopefully we design them all so you can at least have a guess at the questions. So I think we're all ready to begin. And we're going to start with the first round, which is Guess the Production. Now, we've got 6 photographs here from fairly new productions of famous operas from professional opera houses. All you have to do is write down the name of the opera. Now, if you'd like to impress us with the name of the director or the name of the theatre, then please do so, but it's just 1 point per correct answer, and all we're wanting is the name of the opera being performed. Here is number 1. So what is the opera there? Lady in a gorilla costume. Going to number 2. Rather wonderful space scene there. What character could be in the spacesuit? A rather obscure setting. I don't quite understand myself, but what is the famous opera that is being performed here in picture number 2? Okay, and number 3. A very bizarre scene here for number 3, but what could this opera possibly be? It's a well-known opera by a well-known composer, but what on earth is going on here? Moving on then to number 4. A rather delightful sight greeting us here for number 4. What is the opera being performed here? Number 5. No extra prizes here for guessing the inspiration for this particular production, but what is the opera being performed here in photo number 5? And finally, photo number 6. What could this production possibly be? We'll quickly recap all of those production photos, and if you've just joined us late, this is round 1. Tell me the name of the opera being performed here. Quick recap, Production number 1. What is this opera? Quite a well-known production. We've seen it here in the UK a couple of times. Photo number 2. What is this production here? Number 3. What on earth is going on here? Number 4. What is this opera being performed here? Number 5. And last question of round 1. What is going on here? Number 6. What is the opera being performed? So that's round 1. Nice and easy? Well, maybe. Hopefully you can have a guess at the productions and the operas going on there. Now, round 2, a huge thank you to Dr. Martin Pickard, former head of music at Opera North, for putting together this next round, which is called Guess the Aria. Martin has recorded the accompaniment to 6 famous arias. Each of them starts when the singer would start singing. So you're not going to hear any introduction, and the music starts when the singer would start singing. So all you need to do is tell us the name of the aria that you're going to hear the accompaniment of here. 1 point if you can tell us the name of the opera. 2 points if you can name the exact title of the aria. So Martin's going to play the accompaniment. Tell us what the aria is. So here is number 1. We'll play these again at the end. That was number 1. I should say, before we move on, Martin was very kind and made 10 videos for us today. We're just going to show you 6, so please do ignore the little title screen that goes with each video. Hopefully we can use the other ones that Martin very kindly prepared for us at another date. So here is video number 2. What is the aria that you're going to hear the accompaniment of here? And now here is the third one. Number 4. So that was the first time that I heard it when Martin sent it through. It was driving me mad for ages trying to think what that one was. A very famous aria. Here is number 5. And the final one for today, number 6. Okay, so I'm going to play all of those again for you. So starting again with number 1. Number 2. here is the third accompaniment. Here's number 4 again. The 5th one here. And here's the 6th and final one once more. Quite infuriating those, aren't you? You can listen to them and you know what the aria is, you just can't think of it. If you want any of those repeating again at the end, do let us know. Now on to round 3, which is the maths and numbers round. So fairly self-explanatory, this one. Now this is a very tricky round, I'm not going to lie. So we're going to have 3 points for correct answers, and then 1 point if you're within the margin of error that we identify for each question. So all you have to do is answer the mini questions within each question and either multiply them, times them, add them together, subtract them as the question goes. So you'll get the hang of it. So here is number 1. So this is all related to Wagner's Ring cycle. So for this question, I want you to add up the number of Rhine maidens with the number of giants, and then I want you to times that number by the number of Valkyries. Okay, so the number of Rhine maidens in the Ring cycle added to the number of giants, and then I want you to take that number and times it by the number of Valkyries. So 3 points if you get the answer dead on, 1 point if you're 5 either way. Okay, we'll have a little bit of time at the end if you want to think about some of these. Number 2. Now this is a really tricky one, and definitely is one that you might want a bit of time to think about at the end. The number of times that Figaro is sung in Largo al Factotum from the Barber of Seville, added to the number of times that Maria is sung in the song Maria from West Side Story. Now, before you comment, I know that West Side Story isn't an opera, but I thought it was a nice comparison piece to the Largo al Factotum. So the number of times that the word Figaro is sung in Largo al Factotum from the Barber of Seville, added to the number of times that Maria is sung in the song Maria from West Side Story. And that's starting when he starts singing. So the most beautiful sound in the world I ever heard. So from once the music starts, that's when we're counting the Marias. So when we have a break before the answers, you might want to sing those 2 songs to yourself. 3 points for the correct answer, 1 point if you are 10 either way. Number 3. So this is the year that the Marriage of Figaro premiered, and I want you to subtract modern concert pitch. So that's the year that Marriage of Figaro premiered, and subtract from that modern concert pitch. This is 3 points for a correct answer, 1 point if you are 40 either way. So the year that Figaro premiered, and subtract from that what modern concert pitch is. 3 points for the correct answer, 1 point if you're 40 either way. Okay, number 4, Don Giovanni question. Don Giovanni's Italian conquests added to Don Giovanni's French conquests. And those are the pictures that come up if you do type Italy and France into Google. So that's Don Giovanni's Italian conquests added to Don Giovanni's French conquests. 3 points for a correct answer, 1 point if you are 50 either way. Number 5, and completely by accident I chose 2 pictures here which are very similar to each other. I didn't mean to do that. It was only when I put them together I realised I've chosen 2 pictures showing kind of the same thing. So for this one, I'm looking for the number of Prokofiev's oranges multiplied by the number of Montemezzi's kings. So that's the number of Prokofiev's oranges multiplied by the number of Montemezzi's kings. 3 points for the correct answer, 1 point if you are 2 either way. And finally, Frederick from Penzance's age this year, a little bit of GNS, added to the age that Amelia Marty was when she died. That is Carita Matilla on the right. I'm very sorry to Carita. I can't do anything about that logo covering her face. So that's Frederick from Penzance's age this year, added to the age Amelia Marty was when she died. So that's 3 points for a correct answer, 1 point if you are 60 either way. So clue, you're looking for a big number. Frederick from Penzance's age this year, added to the age Amelia Marty was when she died. So if you'd like any of those repeating, do let us know in the comments and we can do that at the end before we reveal the answers. This next round is opera and film. So I'm going to play a famous aria from a famous film. I'm going to tell you the name of the director of the film and also the initials of the film's title. All you have to do is write down the name of the film. So for example, if I played The Ride of the Valkyries, I told you that the director was Francis Ford Coppola and that the initials of the film were A.N., then the answer would be Apocalypse Now. Now, I'm afraid that Facebook doesn't like it when you play too much recorded music, so I am very sorry. I am going to have to play all of these songs on the piano. If my playing is so bad you can't tell what I'm playing, do let us know, and I will let you know what the song is that I'm playing on the piano. So we're going to start with number 1. The director of this film is Chris Columbus, and the initials of the film are M.D. That's M for mother, D for Delta. So Chris Columbus is the director, M.D. are the initials of the film we're looking for. So hopefully not too tricky to start us off with there. For the next one, just double check I don't say the wrong thing. The director of the next film was Gary Marshall, and the initials of the film are P.W. P for Percy and W for Water. Director Gary Marshall for number 2. And this is the song that features in the film. That was number 2. The third film that we're looking for was directed by Frank Darabont. The initials of the film are SR. S for sugar, R for Rupert. So this is film number 3. Film number 3. Next is film number 4. The director of this film is Jonathan Demme, and the initials of the film are P. So just the one letter, P for Percy. That was number 4. Film number 5 was directed by Christopher McQuarrie, and the initials of this film are M-I-R-N. So M for mother, I for ignorant, R for Rupert, and N for November. Directed by Christopher McQuarrie, M-I-R-N. And finally, this final film was directed by Steve Benderlack. The initials of the film are M-B-H. So M for mother, B for banana, and H for hotel. Directed by Steve Benderlack, this is M-B-H. It's a nice easy song to end with, but did you know what MBH was? That was the final number from the film round. So we're now going to move into our penultimate round for this evening, which is Make the Connection. I'm going to show you 3 things that are all connected in some way. You just have to write down how are they all connected. So let's start with question 1. How are these 3 people connected? That's the Supreme Court Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the comedian Dawn French, and the actress Kathleen Turner. How are they all related? In an operatic way, of course. Question 2. What links Wagner's Das Liebesverbot, Holst's At the Boar's Head, and Felicien David's opera Le Saphir? So Wagner's Das Liebesverbot, or The Forbidden Love, Holst's At the Boar's Head, and Felicien David's opera Le Saphir, or The Sapphire. Question 3. What links Rimsky-Korsakov's opera Christmas Eve, Prokofiev's opera The Fiery Angel, and Weinberger's opera Schwander the Bagpiper? So Rimsky-Korsakov's Christmas Eve, Prokofiev's The Fiery Angel, and Weinberger's Schwander the Bagpiper. Love that picture of Prokofiev there in the middle. If you search for pictures of Prokofiev, which of course I did for this quiz, he's always looking at you like he's sort of judging you. It's maybe not an easy man to get along with. So what links those three operas? Christmas Eve, The Fiery Angel, and Schwander the Bagpiper. Question 4. What links the actors Gary Oldman, Ian Hart, and Ed Harris? So what links the three actors here? Gary Oldman, Ian Hart, and Ed Harris. And again, of course, what links them operatically speaking? Question 5. What links Giancarlo Menotti's opera Help, Help the Globalinks, Janacek's opera The Excursions of Mr. Bruchek, and Haydn's opera Il Mondo della Luna? So what links Menotti's opera Help, Help the Globalinks, Janacek's opera The Excursions of Mr. Bruchek, and Haydn's opera Il Mondo della Luna? And finally, listen carefully to this one. What links The Barber of Die Fledermaus, Placido Flamingo, and Pigoletto? What links The Barber of Die Fledermaus, Placido Flamingo, and Pigoletto? And if you can see there, I've helpfully put a little picture of the different animals representing the questions here. So The Barber of Die Fledermaus, Placido Flamingo, and Pigoletto. So final round now. Again, if there's any you want repeating, do just let us know in the comments. This final round is Who Said That? So very straightforward. I'm going to play you clips of 6 famous people. You just need to tell me whose is the voice that you're hearing in these clips. So here is clip number 1. It brings me such great joy, that clip. Who is that you just heard there in clip number 1? Here's clip number 2. Who is this?
Well, it was nearly by mistake. I mean, it's by a miracle, shall we say. Yes, it's true. I was doing Valkyria, which was my second year at the Fenice of Venice. And I remember there was a great... shall we say, an influenza fever or epidemic. And they were without soprano for Puritani of Bellini. And poor old Serafine was exhausted, desperate. He couldn't find this singer and that singer. We didn't know what to do in the evening, so we were just, sight reading the roll and playing around with with music. So his wife heard me singing the aria, sight reading the aria. And she came in, it was in his apartment, Master Serafin's apartment. She says, will you do me a favor? When my husband comes in fact, she didn't call him my husband, she says, Tullio comes in. She says, will you please sing that for him?
Coming up next, clip number 3. If you're listening carefully, you'll hear that this is a very recent clip. So who is this?
Friday, April the 3rd, 2020. Keeping on, keeping on. Today, I come to you from my staircase, a change of scene in this lockdown time. I've had a request to read the words of a poignant song, adapted for our times, lyrics originally by a group of men in very tight trousers called the Bee Gees. Well, you can tell from the way I walk, I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Music loud and women warm. I've been kicked around since I was born.
Coming up next is one of my favourite all-time singers, just a wonderful person. Who is this in number 4?
It was you heard. I really sang like an angel. You just want to kiss yourself. You sound so great. I have on time, on occasions.
Coming up in number 5, who is this rather well-spoken gentleman?
Well, I hope society will keep me alive. I hope I shall be able to make enough money to live on and live perhaps in a way which makes writing music possible even easy. Not too easy, because we must all fight a little bit. And that is why, although we have had small support in England to the arts, and it is now growing bigger, I have been sometimes grateful that it is not too big, because if an artist has everything too easy, sometimes the thing becomes a little glib. He doesn't, if he knows he can have as big an orchestra as he wants, he thinks of 17 bass clarinets. That is not a healthy thing.
And finally, who is this with their interpretation of Nessun Dorma?
Nessun dorma, nessun dorma. Tu pure, o principessa, nella tua fredda stanza, guardi le stelle che tremano d'amore e di speranza.
And so that's today's quiz. That's all 36 questions we've got for you today. We're going to take a break for a couple of minutes so you can fill in any gaps you might have in your answer sheets. If there's anything that you'd like repeating, please do let us know. Just write down in the comments and we can repeat any questions. You might want to sing along Lagwak Faltotum to yourself or Maria from West Side Story for the numbers round. So we'll have a 2-minute break. Anything you want repeating, let us know now, and then we'll come to the answers. Right then, so I think it is time for some answers. Round 1 was guess the production. So let's start with the first picture. This very fetching lady in the fetching gorilla costume is Carmen. That's director Barry Kosky's production of Carmen, which has been seen a couple of times, certainly here at the Royal Opera House in London. So if you write down Carmen, that's 1 point. Production number 2, no idea what's going on here, but that is La Bohème, directed by Klaus Gruth. The marketing material for this says that he has set the drama in a future devoid of hope, in which love and art become the sole means of transcendence. So I don't know if you got that from the picture, but that was La Bohème. So 1 point if you wrote La Bohème. Number 3, no, I have no idea what's going on here. This is Tobias Kratzer, the director, and this is L'Italiana in Algeri, or The Italian in Algiers by Rossini. So no idea what's going on in that one. Number 4, directed by Romeo Castellucci. This is Wagner's Tannhäuser. Again, answers on a postcard, what on earth is going on here, but that is Tannhäuser. Number 5, so no points for guessing the inspiration. This Donald Trump-inspired production by Pavel Svikotak. This is The Barber of Seville. That's Bartolo as Trump, and then Rosina hiding in the background. So that was The Barber of Seville. And finally, when I first saw this, I thought Rigoletto. I'm afraid it's not. This is Otto Katzmeyer's Rujalka. So if you put down Rujalka by Dvorak, get yourself a point. So 6 points on offer there. Carmen, La Bohème, L'Italiana in Algeri, Tannhäuser, Barber of Seville, and Rujalka. Round 2 was Guess the Aria. Thank you again to Dr. Martin Pickard for recording these. These are so frustrating, these ones. You hear them, you know what it is, and you just can't think. The first one we heard there was Una furtiva lagrima. That's Nemorino's aria from L'Elixir d'Amore, or the Elixir of Love. So 2 points if you had Una furtiva lagrima, 1 point if you had the Elixir of Love. Number 2 was Una voce poco fa, Rosina's aria from Il Barbiere di Sevilla, or The Barber of Seville. So 1 point if you had The Barber of Seville, 2 points if you had Una voce poco fa. Number 3, a bit of G&S. That was A Wandering Minstrel from The Mikado. So 2 points if you had A Wandering Minstrel, 1 point if you had The Mikado. Number 4, this is the one that for some reason I just couldn't get my head into the first time around, but it's a very, very famous aria. This is Caro Nome. So 2 points if you wrote down Caro Nome, 1 point if you wrote down Rigoletto, the opera that it comes from. These final 2 were a fair bit trickier. So the 5th one that we had today was Durch die Wälder, durch die Auen, from Der Freischutz. So really well done if you got that one. And number 6 was Fais-lui mes alveurs. Excuse my French. So 2 points if you got that. 1 point if you got Faust, which is the opera that the song was from. Thank you again, Martin, for putting those together, and frustrating, I'm sure, all of us trying to think what the aria was. We then went into our maths and numbers round. So I asked for the number of Rhine maidens added to the number of giants in the ring cycle, and then times by the number of Valkyries. There are 3 Rhine maidens, there are 2 giants, so that was 5, and then there are 9 Valkyries. So 5 times 9 is 45. So 3 points if you got 45, 1 point if you were 5 either side. So if you had 40 up to 50, get yourself 1 point, 3 points for 45. Now, a really tricky one here. Be interesting to see what people put. The number of times that Figaro is sung in Largo al Factotum, that's 22. And the number of times that Maria is sung in Maria and West Side Story, that's 29. So hearty congratulations if you got 3 points for 51 altogether. But you can get 1 point if you were 10 either side. So if you had 41 up to 61. So that's 22 Figaros and that's 29 Marias. So 51 for 3 points. 1 point if you were 10 either way. The next one, the year of the Marriage of Figaro's premiere, that was 1786, minus modern concert pitch, which is 440. So altogether, that brings us to 1,346. So a hearty congratulations if you got that right. 3 points for 1346, and 1 point if you were 40 either way. So 1306 up to 1386. Congratulations if you got that one. I then asked for Don Giovanni's Italian conquests added to Don Giovanni's French conquests. So in Leporello's famous song, he lists the number of women that Don Giovanni has slept with in various countries. It's 640 in Italy, it's 100 in France, so 740 is what we're looking for 3 points. 50 either way would have brought you up a point, so 690 to 790 gets you a point, but 740 is the answer we're looking for. For this one, I asked you for the number of Prokofiev's oranges multiplied by the number of Montemezzi's kings. That's, of course, Prokofiev's love for 3 oranges multiplied by Montemezzi's the love of 3 kings. So that's 3 times 3, which, of course, is 9. So 3 points if you got 9, 1 point if you were 2 either way. And then finally, this is, I mean, they've all been pretty tricky, but this one was really horrible. So that's Frederick from the Pirates of Penzance. Now, if you know your GNS, you'll know that Frederick gets out of the mess he's put himself into by revealing that he's actually born on a leap year. So Frederick this year would be 40 years old. And added to the age that Amelia Marty from the Macropolis case was when she died. If you know the opera, you'll know that she keeps herself young over hundreds and hundreds of years and dies at the end of the opera. When she dies, she's 342. So altogether, for 3 points, we were looking for 382, and a massive congratulations if you got that one right. 382, and then I said you could be 60 either way, so anything from 322 up to 442, get yourself a point. So Frederick is 40 this year, Amelia Marty 342. Fiendishly difficult, but I hope you enjoyed them nonetheless. We then came to the opera and film round. The song I attempted to play on the piano was Largo al Factotum from Barbara of Seville, the director Chris Columbus, the initials MD. That was the opening sequence to the film Mrs. Doubtfire. Robin Williams' character does the voices for cartoons. He's singing Largo al Factotum as sort of a Tweety Pie character before the cat comes to take him on a chase. So we were looking for Mrs. Doubtfire. 1 point if you got that right. Number 2, the director was Gary Marshall. The initials of the film were PW. I played a little bit of La Traviata, so it could only be one film. That's Pretty Woman. Julie Roberts and Richard Gere go to the opera and they see Pretty Woman. Number 3, the director was Frank Darabont. The initials of the film were SR, and I played a little bit of Solaria from The Marriage of Figaro. That's the unforgettable scene in The Shawshank Redemption. Tim Robbins puts the song on and plays it among the courtyard. All of the prisoners and prison guards stand still to listen to Solaria as it comes over the loudspeaker. Number 4, the director was Jonathan Demme, who was a huge director in the early 90s, did Silence of the Lambs and all sorts of things. I'm not sure what he does nowadays. The initials of the film were P, so just the one initial. I played La Mamma Morta from Adrescenye. And again, that's the wonderful scene where Tom Hanks in the film Philadelphia is talking to his lawyer Denzel Washington, and he puts on La Mamma Morta to help him through the difficult time that he's having. So the answer there was Philadelphia. The final 2 were a fair bit trickier. For number 5, the director was Christopher McQuarrie. The initials were MIRN. I, of course, played, well, I hope you could tell, Nessun Dorma. That was Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. There's a big sort of 7-minute fight scene whilst Turandot is going on below them. If you wrote down Mission Impossible, I'll accept that. It was Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. And finally, I'd love to know if anyone got this last one. It's a fantastic scene, directed by Steve Bendelack. The initials were MBH. That was Oh Mio Bambino Caro from Mr. Bean's Holiday. He puts the music on and proceeds to lip sync quite magnificently to it whilst conducting a little scene in front of the onlooking shoppers in the market. So that was Mr. Bean's Holiday for the final one. Round 5 was Make the Connection. We started with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Dawn French and Kathleen Turner. I'll accept any sort of answer that they've played the same role in the same opera. They've all played the Duchess of Krakenthorpe from La Fille de Regiment, which is a spoken role. So anything along the lines of they've all played the same role. Ruth Bader Ginsburg for Washington Opera, Dawn French on a couple of occasions for the Royal Opera House in London, and Kathleen Turner recently at the Metropolitan Opera in New York. So congratulations if you got that one right. Next up, what links Wagner's Das Liebesverbot, Holst's At the Boar's Head, and Felicien David's La Sophia? Well, they're all based on Shakespeare plays. So well done if you got that one correct there. All of those operas are based on plays by Shakespeare. I then asked what links Rimsky-Korsakov's Christmas Eve, Prokofiev's The Fiery Angel, and Weinberger's Schwander the Bagpiper. They're all operas in which the devil appears. Don't be put the wrong way by thinking that Christmas Eve is some sort of lovely Father Christmas-inspired opera. It's quite dark in many respects. So all of those operas feature the devil. Question 4 was what links the actors Gary Oldman, Ian Hart, and Ed Harris? Well, they only wrote one opera, but it still counts. They've all played Beethoven in different films. And here they all are. That's Gary Oldman in Immortal Beloved, Ian Hart in Eroica, and Ed Harris in Copying Beethoven. So well done if you got that right. I think for that one we will need they've all played Beethoven. I won't accept they've all played the same part. They've all played Beethoven in different films. I then asked what links Menotti's Help the Global Links, Janacek's The Excursion of Mr. Bruchek, and Haydn's Il Mondo della Luna. Well, they're all operas that have scenes on the moon. Congratulations if you got that one. And then finally, what links The Barber of Die Fledermaus, Placido Flamingo, and Pigoletto? Well, those are all opera references in The Muppets. The Barber of Die Fledermaus and Pigoletto are two opera parodies that appear in The Muppets, and Placido Flamingo is a recurring character who at various points does actually get to sing alongside Placido Domingo himself. So those were all opera references in The Muppets. So again, well done if you got any of those correct. Our final round was Who Said That, or Who Is This? Number 1, if you ever need cheering up, just listen to the wonderful recordings of Florence Foster Jenkins. You might have seen the film starring Meryl Streep as Florence Foster Jenkins. She was a New York socialite who fancies herself as a bit of a singer. She had sold-out concerts at Carnegie Hall because she was, as you heard from that, quite an atrocious singer. So number 1 was Florence Foster Jenkins, and that was her Queen of the Night. Number 2 was Maria Callas. They're talking to Lord Harwood about how her career started. So number 2 was Maria Callas. Number 3 was the countertenor Estin Davis. He's been doing kind of daily videos during the lockdown where he plays Alan Bennett and reads out various things. Very talented Estin Davis, not only one of the world's greatest countertenors, but does a mean Alan Bennett impression as well. Number 4 is the wonderful, wonderful Leontine Price. That was her at the very start of the clip. She opened the new Metropolitan Opera House playing Cleopatra in Samuel Barber's Antony and Cleopatra. And then the little bit of spoken dialogue was her reflecting on that from the recent Metropolitan Opera documentary. So that was number 4, Leontine Price. Number 5, the gentleman there, was Benjamin Britten, talking about arts funding, public funding for the arts, a topic that never goes away. And number 6, the interpretation of Nessun Dorma there, that was Aretha Franklin, who stepped in at the last minute for Placido Domingo, Luciano Pavarotti, and that was her version of Nessun Dorma. So many congratulations if you got Aretha Franklin there at the end. And so that's our quiz for today, our first ever live Operacast quiz. I hope you enjoyed it. Do make sure to leave us some comments or send us an email if you'd like to let us know what you thought of the quiz. If you want to send an email, we're info@operacast.co.uk. If you'd like to write down your final score in the comments, please do so, and we can crown a winner. Completely up to you if you'd like to do so. Whilst you're thinking about if you would like to do that, I'll make a final plug for the Operacast podcast. We've got lots of past episodes that you can listen to on our website, operacast.co.uk, or by searching Operacast wherever you get your podcasts. We've got episodes with interviews with the likes of Gerald Finley, Elizabeth Llewellyn, Wasfi Carney, Polly Graham, Sean Edwards, Stuart Murphy, all sorts of really, really fantastic characters from the world of opera. So do go back and listen to those podcasts. They're all free to listen to and all available online. We also recently spent a week behind the scenes at the Glyndebourne Opera Cup before all of this lockdown started. You can listen to those. And last year we covered the Cardiff Singer of the World and the Operalia competitions as well. So all of those are available to listen to over the coming weeks and months. I'm going to look to Louise and see if anybody has wanted to reveal their scores. Or keeping it to yourselves. That's quite right. You're all winners. We hope you've enjoyed today's quiz. We'll be back soon with a new podcast. And in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe, staying healthy. And I say do check out some of that fantastic opera content online before the opera houses reopen again. Thank you from me. Thank you from Louise, our producer over there in the corner. And have a wonderful rest of your evening.